Alright, we're back. More, more Overwatching. John picks D.va, and it is a shock to all.
Yep. Unless I am forced to do so otherwise, I will stay with D.va.
Now, when you pick D.va, you can get two D.vas on the team, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're playing in ranked, which we're just doing quick play. If you play in ranked, you can only have one of each hero on the team at a time, which I actually really like.
Does that block it from the other team too, or
no, just your team.
Okay.
The reasoning behind that is that you keep teams from situationally stacking characters.
Right.
Like having 6 bastions. Waiting there at the very end of a map where somebody's trying to cross that last little threshold. Or a bunch of maze, alternatingly turning invincible and keeping you from being able to take over the point, stuff like that.
Well, Sparky Man 112, 1120, 02, whatever. Hello. Already had somebody drop. Oh, somebody came back in. Nice.
Yeah, I do like to
camp the spawn like that.
Yeah.
Or like, well, that's not the spawn point, but the entrance.
Yeah. Because for one thing, it distracts them for a little bit.
Yeah, I slowed them down from.
For two, like that D.va knew to look. Half the time, they don't even bother to look. And a lot of times what I will do is I will just actually wait behind there and watch them run off, and then I will wait, because the support units are always the ones at the very back. They always run behind. And I see that, and I'll just run behind your healer or whatever and take them out. I always look for opportunities to take out healers and snipers, because that's what D.va does best. Because
as the tanks go, she's kind of as a tank the weakest of the tanks.
Yeah, I hate the fact that she actually is classified as a tank. I mean, it makes sense, given that she's got high health. And,
right. She's got the health of the tank, but not necessarily the armor.
She does have a shield, but that's not what her skill set is good for. She's more of a skirmisher.
Right. Like where Reinhardt's more traditional tank.
Yeah, Reinhardt is like the, he is the paragon of tanking in this game. Like, if you just want to be the guy that, blocks shit and swings around a hammer and yeah, he's your guy.
I still can't get over, after all these years, just how damn good Blizzard art looks, and it's never high fidelity art either.
Right.
Like, all of the objects in here are chunky polygon, right? Nothing has been significantly smooth like you get in, like, other AAA studios. Like, look at the frickin' car. That's the payload.
Yeah.
It's got, like... Oh, when we get up there. It's got, like, a massive 30-degree angle bends on it,
Yeah.
But yeah, the stuff looks great. The aesthetic is there.
Yeah,
they mastered that aesthetic over polygon count, or just trying to make it look as realistic as possible.
Yeah, it definitely has a specific art direction in mind that they're going for, and they pull it off. It's not, particularly flashy or anything, but it looks good.
Yeah, they
and
never
works.
are. But I mean, it's like when World of Warcraft came out. While polygon count and shader technology and all that blah 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 was behind all the other MMOs, but it looked better because it has that direction. It has that understanding of how to do less with more. It's part of the secret of why, like, you know, the joke has been like, do you have a computer? Then it runs the Blizzard games. You know, because the Blizzard games are always way lower stat requirements than anything else in the same genre.
Right.
Those are really good character designs too, because you can tell from a distance that's Reaper, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just his outline, and, you know, the animations play into it some. Because it's moving, and they have, you know, distinct elements that animate different ways, like his trench coat.
Right.
Help stand it apart, but it's just like, it's so good to instantly, like, see that tiny little thing on the screen, not even a half-inch big, and know that's a Reaper.
Or you can just see his name above his head and tell. That's the other way, you know?
Hello.
Yes, everybody, please gather around the payload. I've got something for you. And you can see how many people are near the payload, based on that P with the little circle and the number in it.
I got
my
one
angle
for you.
That is their spawn point, so.
The payload?
That little door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where the Ghostbusters sign is right there. Now in theaters. Maybe still in theaters by the time this video goes up. Fuck if I know.
Good movie. Fuck the haters, man. Like,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of people say it's really good.
There's a lot of people that have an axe to grind. Like, I get if you don't like it. You can see it and like, I don't like it. But the people who are just like, this is terrible, this is not even fun. Like, no, you have an axe to grind, dude. You seriously need to chill and think about why you have to shit all over a movie.
Right.
Because it is, I really enjoyed it. And like the first Ghostbusters, like I saw somebody knocking of like, oh, it's just for comedians like ad-libbing. No shit, that was the first Ghostbusters too. And two.
Yeah, most of Bill Murray's stuff was ad-libbed.
And, you know, it was just this loose, like Dan Aykroyd was the only one who was like taking the shit way too seriously.
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, you know, not in a malicious way, but Bill Murray basically just shat all over the script.
Yes.
Because, you know, it would say one thing, you just come in and do something else, because, you know, it works.
The worst thing I can say about the new Ghostbusters is the cameos are shit. The cameos really feel forced, and they feel like they were all done after principal shooting and the script was done. Of like some studio executives like, no, we have to have all these cameos in here because they are the only points when the flow in the action is messed up. And if you go back and watch the original Ghostbusters, you realize there's a lot of slow fucking scenes in there before it gets to like the shit going. There's not in the new one. It's non-stop from the moment they start. And one of the reasons I love it too is that sort of off-the-cuff ad-libbing humor, surprise, surprise, heavy sarcasm. I enjoy that. Is really good in the movie. And oh god, what's his name? Thor. Shit.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, he fucking kills it. Because they do this, they play around with a little inversion of trope thing there of like the dumb bobblehead, assistant.
Secretary,
yeah, secretary assistant, and he's, you know, basically like gonna be like this. He's like an underwear model that just applies this, and you know, doesn't get anything. But the way he does it with like an ego, so it's not just ignorant, right? He's not hanging up because he didn't know how to answer the phone. It's like the phone was interfering with his ability to read his book, you know? And so he just picks it up and hangs it up or something like that. And I don't know, his character is hilarious, but they actually like involve it in the plot in a way I didn't see coming. So instead of just being like this bit secretary part, he shows up later in the movie with significant parts, and like the battles going on that I really enjoyed too. Of like, okay, you guys didn't just do the one note joke of, hey, it's a guy, not a girl, right? Isn't that good?
It's man Janine.
So there's 2 cameos that worked, and it was Janine and it was Winston. And that's because they had better parts that flowed in the script, and it wasn't just like we have to force them in some way.
Yeah.
I'm taking it that Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd sort of like showed up last minute and had like one day, whereas the actress and actor that played Winston and Janine, they were willing to come out a couple days, you know, do a shooting proper.
Fuck, I know.
I
know his name and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
So, Janine is the receptionist at a ritzy hotel lobby, which has ghosts in it. I mean, the thing parallels the first movie.
Yeah. As
tight as the second movie did, parallel the first one as far as like, hey, we're in a library or we're in an art museum, and then, you know, goes to this, goes to that. So they show up at the hotel, you know, like, can you please handle this discreetly and all that, and she's answering the phones, but she's doing it in the, Janine way.
Yeah.
And that works really well. And then all along, the character Patty is she's the one that gets the hearse by borrowing it from her uncle. And she kept saying, like, you know, my uncle's gonna need it back. And at the end of the movie, the guy that played Winston shows up and he's the uncle. And, you know, it's like, I need my hearse. And of course, the vehicle's totaled by the end. So he's like, it's not here. You mean it's in Jersey? I got 4 funerals today. I need my hearse. Well, this was a little short. We got time to get another match. For an episode. We keep talking Ghostbusters. Because I really like, oh god, I'm forgetting her name. But the one who did the Egon character.
Harold Ramis?
No.
In the new movie. In the new one.
In the new one. Because, she didn't do Egon. She didn't... Egon's very much the research scientist, you know, is all the time talking with Dan Aykroyd about the equations and crap like that. And this is a small thing, but I loved it so much. When they introduced the team at one point, they had the 2 main girls introduce themselves as scientists. And then they introduced the Egon character as the engineer. And I was like, yes, thank you. The person who makes all the devices and shit is the fucking engineer, not the scientist. That's not science. Science is the research, the exploration, scientific method, right?
Right.
But in movies, a lot of time, we've seen a joke, right? That most mad scientists are just mad engineers.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, what's the experiment? What's the question you're trying to answer? And I don't know, it's just a really small thing to appreciate. It's like, you guys called the scientist and the engineer an engineer. And she just plays into this really great, over-the-top engineer character who's all the time coming up with more and more elaborate or excessive gear for them to use in the thing and play on that. And then also, like, I think if you see the trailer, you've seen the shots where she licks her guns going in with pistols, which is just great. So yeah, if it's still playing or hit it at a dollar theater, well worth it. Our 5-year-old daughter was on the edge of her seat in that movie. It was so cute to watch. She was just wrapped up into the ghost taking over everybody. And then at the end, she was up there dancing, because during the credits, they basically do a big dance number while the credits are rolling.
Of course they do. I mean, well, I would.
what are we on? We're on attack objective A.
Yeah.
Are we on a control point or are we on a payload?
Payload.
But we're the attack now.
Yeah. It's the same map that we just lost on defending.
Had an opportunity to go see Suicide Squad today.
How bad?
And I didn't go see it. I didn't go see it.
Oh, you had an opportunity and declined.
I declined. I was kind of like, yeah, you guys.
I had the opportunity to see it for free and declined.
Part of it is reading the reviews and like. So I got coworkers, I got friends that will disregard every negative review. Like, oh man, got a friend, man, he was just the worst on the Warcraft movie. With the, people don't get it, they don't understand the history, they don't. I'm like, it's the movie. That's when they should have explained all of that. I shouldn't have to have played Warcraft and read all the books to enjoy the movie.
It's the dot hack problem.
Yeah. And he was having some of these issues with reviews on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Of like, I didn't understand that character's background and wouldn't have done this and blah, when they were saying this is a plot problem, it's not, and then I don't care, really. But what I enjoyed was throughout the day sending him negative reviews. Because it would set him off. When he knows I'm only doing it to set him off. He knows I'm not taking a side, like, no, this movie's actually bad, and here I'm trying to prove my point. He's like, no, I'm just gonna make you read this bad review with this bad quote. Hell, I sent him a Ben Kuchera article on how they could fix it.
Yeah.
I hate Ben Kuchera. Like, back on Game Marks days, I used to call him Ben Butthurt. I don't think the man's ever researched an article in his life. I don't understand why he gets this alumni status on all these high-profile sites. But he basically wrote an article of like, well, they can save this by releasing the R-rated cut, but they had to cut out all these R-rated bits. And again, Ben does no research before he writes an article. There's no R-rated version. The director himself has interviews talking about how he heavily policed everything to make sure it stayed PG-13. He didn't shoot an R version and cut it down. He shot it PG-13. There's no bits to add. So your whole theory of how Warner Bros. Is going to release the R version on DVD and make up the money can't happen.
Yeah, there has to actually...
There has to be a version for it to exist. So I sent him that article to set him off. But yeah, they went and saw it, and I was just like, But the other part is superhero fatigue. Like, I'm at a point where I don't know... Short of rebooting Blade, right?
Yeah.
I don't know there's anything I'm gonna like, oh, I want to go see that. Like, I'm interested in that superhero movie. There's too many and too short of a time span.
Olympic pacer here on the team.
So she is British?
Yeah. Very much so.
Well, see, that gives me an excuse to main a character other than D.va. My grandmother's British. Referred to, I love this term, I may have said this on the show before, as a war bride. Which means that my grandfather was in World War II, was stationed in England, met my grandmother, came back to the States. But I'm just like, that doesn't sound like that.
No, it sounds like, he captured her.
He captured... he held the payload and then plundered, is what that sounds like.
Victor goes spoiled.
And they were definitely an odd couple because my grandfather was a lifelong farmer. And after the war went back to being a dairy farmer. Dairy farming and tobacco. And my grandmother is Wales and had little gardens in the back. you know, really elaborate British gardens and that kind of thing, in her backyard. And be damned if she wasn't gonna garden up the farm. Except now it's like acres. And she's just one tiny little, I mean, you see my size, right? You know,
Right.
yeah, she's one tiny little skinny woman. But she has taken over, and not as elaborate as she might have done back in England, but everywhere had a rock border, everywhere had a little, like, 6 inches of soil separating the tree from the grass. All well kept. Do you remember her telling me one time too a story, because they had a little British sticker on their car, and people riding beside them yelling at them with an IRA, Irish Northern Ireland Irish Republican Army stuff on it, and I'm just like, wow. Also, dude, to think that my little grandmother has anything to do with the occupation of Northern Ireland. And that was like in the 90s, so that's just to prove to you it's always been bad. We made a mistake. My grandfather has done a lot of research into the family, and I before he passed away, I talked a lot to him about all the stuff he did, just to try to, you know, listen to it, learn it, because I realized, like, it's not really written down. And didn't really document as well as I should, but I followed a lot of stories. And, he had the family trace back. The name Neil, extends to a Viking clan named Neil, where it's spelled Niall. And so, basically what happened is in the, Middle Ages,
Yeah.
people can't write their name. They know they're Neils, so the census show up and they're like, who lives here? And like, the Neils, how you spell it? I don't know. So they just take a guess and write it down. And that's why for a lot of different names, like Neil, so many different ways to explain it. But when we come back on our next episode, I'm gonna give you the story.
And of course, he wouldn't be a Reaper if he didn't have
Yeah.
666 in the gamer tag. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Send that one to Reaper names. I'll tell you the story of how I made a wonderful racially loaded clan on not World of Warcraft, but on
Dark Age of
Dark
Camelot.
Age of Camelot. Great story.